not liberal enough for him. I said, but you know what, Trey? We're here and we're bringing the light here in a strange sort of way. And when we first moved here, we were renting a place over there on L&M Drive, and then rented the place. He said to me, you know, you're lucky they haven't burned a cross on the front steps here. I said, what are you trying to tell me? That I should be glad that they haven't burned a cross? And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just keep doing what I do. And we've been here for 37 years, and I'm very proud of what we're still doing here. And my teacher used to say to me, David, if you're not pissing them off, you're probably not doing your job. And I try not to piss them off, you know. I just try to tell it like it is, as my twin sister would say. Imagine no religion. I think there's a song by the Beatles. I wonder if you can. I've studied with so many spiritual teachers all over the planet, and they don't go around saying that they're the only way. No, the I am, as Jesus would say, is the way. The I am is the truth and the life. And we are all the I am. We're teaching James Twyman's wonderful little book about non-duality. And he just says, say to yourself, I am. It is all the I am. And the I am doesn't have a religion. Imagine that. And so we get this bigger framework to play in. And at this stage, I'm still a student of truth. You know, I'm still seeking to grow and to learn. And so much of what learning is letting go of what you think you already know. My beloved Thomas over here is having direct experiences with the numinous voice, and it's coming in images. The very first class I took was Trance and Psychic Development by this man who talked about when you want to explore consciousness, he said, your left brain is very logical, but your right brain is very imagistic. And he says, we need to open the window between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere so the right brain can inform the left brain. And so Thomas having these visions with these pyramids coming up and below, it's communicating something to the left brain. Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth. When we used to teach here at the center, The Power of Myth over and over again, because mythology is a right brain way of understanding truth. So when we can expand our way of perceiving things, you know, the Moses Code, James Twyman's very first book, was all about the story of Moses. Now, Moses was communicating with the universe, like we all do, and all of a sudden, this bush is lit up from within. They called it the burning bush. Well, it was the light within the bush. It's light within creation. I see the light everywhere. The bunny rabbits are hopping across the street, and I see them as little lights. And my husband said, oh, that would be nice for dinner tonight. I said, don't go there with me. You know, I see the little light in this and the light in that. So Moses saw the light in the bush. And what did the bush say to Moses? Moses, right where you stand is holy ground. So the awareness is, it's right here. It's right now. It's not somewhere over the rainbow. No, it's right here. So could we pay attention? Because the universe is always speaking, but are you listening? You know, I was sharing in the revealing service, I studied the indigenous people, and boy, they said the Great Spirit is everywhere. You know, they didn't have a guy in the clouds and man in hell. No, the Great Spirit is everywhere. And then they'd go to the trees and they would say, teach me and show me the way. So when you picked up that turtle in the road, they're our ancestors too. I know, so we get this connection to all things. But you know what needs to happen? We need to open the heart. Because the heart knows oneness, whereas the head wants to get into duplicities. Right, wrong, your way, my way, them and us. No, that doesn't exist. In the heart, they're all our children, and we are all the mother. Wow. And then you play with that. I just had all my little seedlings that I grew. My husband loves aubergines, another name for eggplant. Thank you for bringing the eggplant. And so he likes the aubergines that are the long, thin ones. So I went out on the back patio, I planted the seeds, they all came up, and just the other day, I took the aubergines over to my grow box at Lueders Park. They gave me a box in full sun, and I took those aubergines and I put them in, and look what we had today, the rain, watering in the aubergines. So if you like some eggplant, you're all welcome to come to the boxes. I started off with one box 15 years ago, but people kept dying, so now I have 3 boxes, and that's why I consider them community boxes, so I'm happy to share all these different little things that are expressions of divine love. And when I see the homeless, I say, if you want any beans here, if you want any peas, you go and help yourself. It's the wisdom of the heart, and I love doing the heart stuff. So one of the classes, I like to teach kind of different things, not Science of Mind 101 anymore. You don't need to know how to pray. Whatever arises, love that, by Matt Kahn. Whatever arises, love that. And so when you meet something that's uncomfortable, you find the gift in it. There's a gift in here somewhere. We were talking about the revealing service. And these two are they have a ministry that's global. And And if you Google them up, they text things to you all the time. I want to give you a taste of them because it changed my life. So the title of this book is called Whatever Arises, Love That. And she says, by loving what arises, you unearth the deepest understanding within the universe in the most heart-centered way. Isn't that it, Thomas? The deepest truth, but you do it from the heart. And so he goes on to say this, best of all, when love can be invited to work through us and respond on our behalf, you don't even need to know why things occur. Sometimes we need to have a problem so that we can grow. Sometimes there has to be some death for us to know that there's no death. My beloved husband has a tendency to fall. He went to the casino to gamble and he got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and fell down 3 flights of stairs, and he was on the basement floor for 4 hours until they heard him screaming down there, the ambulance came. And so he has this tendency to fall. But I said, you need to be more mindful. So we're living with his 78-year-old mindful awareness, and there's going to be a blessing in here somewhere. All that is required is a willingness to open our hearts and meet what arises. And when every step forward into our new paradigm, you are able to celebrate the arrival of a heart-centered consciousness while holding a sacred space for the ascension of Earth and the awakening of humanity. There's a big poster out in our area there, and it says, awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. This was 40 years ago. We went on a visioning retreat for the Centers for Spiritual Living, and we said we need to have a vision to hold forefront for our teaching. And there was, I don't know, hundreds of ministers in this room, and all of a sudden, this woman stood up and she said, we need to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and that became the vision. So we hold that vision. We're all awakening. And you know, the Buddha means the consciousness that awoke to the truth of who we are. You know, and then Jesus said, seek the kingdom of heaven. It's within, and it's all around you. So this, whatever this thing is, it's within us and it's all around us. And the Buddha consciousness is the awakened one. So and they say, if you see the Buddha by the side of the road, kill him. The Buddha isn't some man that lived 5,000 years ago. No, it's an awakened presence that's within all of us. And it's always waking up in every little moment. And then if you say, be like a child, if you would enter this, that child that's still within you is kind of awake. When I think of David Leonard, I remember that little boy who would go out into nature and he was doing tantra with every little flower. He was merging with everything. And then I grew up and I thought I was separate from that. No, now I go out and I see the turtle crossing the road and I want to save the turtle because the turtle is part of me. So this is the gift of awareness. She said, with every step forward now into this new spiritual paradigm, you're able to celebrate the arrival of heart-centered consciousness while holding a sacred space for the ascension of Earth and the awakening of humanity. I just said that. So the importance then of cultivating unconditional love is an essential stage in the completion of our journey here on the earth. Unconditional love. Even the smallest of things. My sweet little dog Humphrey is getting older and he keeps falling over. And so hold him in your hearts, because whether manifesting a soulmate, healing your body, seeking liberation from your suffering, or integrating past realizations into a fully embodied state of awareness, each spiritual milestone swiftly finds its way to you once love has been invited into your life. So we open our hearts. That's the first step to whatever it is. Sometimes we have to go through our stuff, Ed, before we get there. So we embrace it. That's what we need to do. This is the dawning of our highest potential, Thomas. It is the emergence of our soul into the beauty of human form. And we're a spiritual being. We're having a human experience. The spirit that we are was never born. The spirit that we are never dies. The body is, yes, it's perishable. It will go someday. But when you know that we're spirit beings, even my animals that are no longer here in body are still with me. It is the long-awaited fulfillment of our divine destiny and for a spiritual growth of all who inhabit our magnificent planet. So they're trying to get a much bigger picture, not a Jewish one, not a Christian one, not a Muslim one, just where we're all part of the one life, waking up on planet Earth. And it is the love revolution that must begin with you right now. It's a love revolution, Michael, right now. And then lastly, he says, many blessings for your journey ahead, my friends. This is only the beginning. That's like the first page of this lovely book. And I'm gonna go to you at the very end of the book and see where he arrives. Ooh, don't you love that? Kind of cheat, you don't have to take the class right at the end of the book. Okay. I accept that there are other dimensions where the evolution of the one is being experienced in slightly or even drastically different ways. This means I am not just awakening in one way, I am awakening in all ways. You know, at the revealing service, everybody had different awakening stories. Thomas was the strangest one. But you know, to open to the dream state, to the image state, you know what I mean? I get it, because I have those same images, you know. It's, if I wish to explore the other parallel dimensions, where this one is embodying the ascension of the planet in infinite ways, I don't have to travel into outer space to discover those dimensions. They're already here within me, uniquely. And he said, I acknowledge everyone that I see as an eternal being, everyone. And it's the I am. And even if it feels as if I am only one among many, I accept that this is merely one perspective. So no matter how anything seems to be, I can rejoice that I am transforming this perspective for all, just by allowing it to be on the receiving end of my loving attention. Whatever blows your skirt up, they say in the gay community. If that's how you get to your oneness, that's how you get it, through dancing. My avenue was dancing. For some, it's painting. I also accept that others are here to transform additional aspects for my evolution as well. So together, we act as one life. We celebrate the victory that has already been ensured since the beginning of time. It is for the liberation of all. This one life wants to liberate itself through all of us. Could we say, yes, beloved, this life belongs to you, do with it as you will, and then watch what happens, because it's going to surprise you. You know. And lastly, he says at the end of this book, as you explore a world of endless potentials, you are destined to remember love as the essential answer to any question or any concern. Love is the answer. Could we bring that love? Remember the title of the book, whatever arises, love that. If it's your obstacle that's arising, love that. It's showing you there's an obstacle in the way. Throughout your journey here, you are not discarding individuality in the name of unity. No. Rather, you are awakening the truth of unity by reuniting your mind and your heart. Our minds and our hearts are coming together as friends now. We're not going to be in conflict with our belief system. You know, our heart says that it's all the one life. Well, then the mind can say, okay, maybe I'll consider I have to change the way I think. There's no them and us anymore. You know, the mind and heart are in holy matrimony. Oh, dare to use the word matrimony, Michael. And he said that when the mind and heart are one, you uniquely celebrate your spiritual evolution on an instant replay as the growth and expansion of every individual with me along the way. So our mind and hearts come together and we can love whatever arises. Even when things seem to fall apart, they're really coming together in a new way. Have you ever had everything fall apart in your life? Anybody? Nobody? Oh, thank you, Tuck. And it was meant to fall apart. You know, I'll never forget, I was just graduated from college, and the roommate that I had lived with from my freshman year to my senior year, we were gonna celebrate our graduation by going to Europe together. We got a 3-month Eurail pass, and at JFK Airport, I'm 21 years old, getting ready to board the plane, and he informs me, oh, by the way, David, I'm not going with you to Europe. I'm staying here. I found a new boyfriend, my current husband, Trey. He dumped me for Trey at the airport, and I'm 21, and I get on the plane, and I'm crying all the way over there because I've got a 3-month Eurail pass, and I don't have a clue where I'm going. I've never been to Europe. But you know how the universe works? There was a little place called Radnor Mansion in London where I knew this person in Denver. He said, this friend who lives there, and I came and I was crying, and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have a 3-month Eurail pass, and I just got dumped right before I got the plane. He said, well, upstairs is Walter Plunkett. He was the costume designer for Gone with the Wind, Academy Award winning. There were pictures of Catherine Hepburn up there and all kinds of things. And he says, listen, young man. He says, this is not a problem. If you see it as a problem, it'll be a problem. And he took us feedback. We will plan your trip. So he put a map out on the dining room table. Now, we'll start there, and you'll go to Brindisi. You'll take a little bus here. And he planned this whole trip out. And I'm sitting there whimpering like a little, and then he told his partner, Lee, he says, you take him around and show him London. I'll take him to the museums and take him to, And so what was going to be the worst experience of my life became a transformational moment. And every time I see an Academy Award-winning movie, there's Walter Plunkett as the costume designer. And that afternoon, Catherine Hepburn, she says, I couldn't do it without Walter. And so life has a way of stepping in when you think everything's falling apart. It has a way of making it even better. And then, of course, Peter dumped me for Trey, and he dumped Trey just like he dumped me, and that's how I ended up with Trey. God knows, 50 years we've been together. So the universe has a strange, strange way. And and that's a story I've told before. It's a very, very old story. But as Mark Nepo, one of my favorite teachers, he said this is an endless practice. Mark Nepo had cancer. He nearly died, but he survived it so many times. And in his endless practice, the very stuff that you think is going to take you off the planet is the stuff that transforms you. And so could we meet all that, at this stage of life? Most of you look like you're older and you've had a little bit of a life behind you. Could we find the transformation in this endless practice that's never going to end? It's not like you arrive in your home, you have to constantly go home. That's why we ring the bell again and again, go home, because we get distracted and so here's this beautiful Mark Nepo. And he was at his father's deathbed, and he said, I felt my father with me so deeply, and he never died. So here's how Mark Nepo says, eventually we come to the last quarter and the final stage of our life. Anybody in their last quarter of their life? A few of you, okay? No, not yet, no, but I'm a 77 and a half. Okay, the last quarter of your life. And he says, I find myself there right now, whether 10 years or 40 years, or how many more years behind me or ahead of me. How does this change how we view things? How does this open the embrace of life in the time that's left? He says, it seems that there is a preciousness in all that now is before us. And it's all that we ever have. Raul knows what that preciousness is. He survived cancer, and he just goes right to the beloved. He's such a hero for me. And so Nepo says the same thing. I've known for a long time that we slowly become what we seek, just as we discover the ounce of wisdom that we can offer the world. After a lifetime of seeking, ultimately we become a beautiful part of the path by which others also seek. And we lean into the unknown long enough, and we become a small part of the mystery. Thomas's whole life is a mystery. What brought us together was a mystery. And I'm so grateful for that. So many of you, the mystery brought us together. And he goes saying, the gift of life is the journey. There's no destination that we arrive at. It's always waking up. This is the day the Lord has made. And each soul must make this journey. And our job is not to expose the mystery, but to participate in the mystery. Last month, the theme for the month was living in and as the mystery. This is all one great mystery, Ed, and it's going to continue to be that way. At first, this was a very troubling thought to me, but now I've settled into it as a humble blessing. We're always going to be going out into nature, Richard, and saying, I am. He says, I know now that return and loss are simply gates that swing open in the mystery, sometimes so fast that we don't even know what happened, and sometimes so slow we don't think anything is really happening. The gates that open and close and open and close. And that's part of the journey, Mr. Michael. And so let me skip to the very end. I like starting at the beginning, going, where does he arrive at the very end of this? He says, at times we become so preoccupied with the one difficult feeling that it can become our guide or our dark master. Anybody have any dark masters that can guide your life? Oh, nobody. I can see. But the work of loving yourself, which we can always return to, is to stay in a conversation with that great living depth from which all these moods and feelings arise. And the work of loving yourself day to day is to outweigh those dark moods, the way you might outweigh the turbulence or the water's surface, till you can once again see clearly to the bottom of the water and to listen to what the depth has to say. I think there is a song that says, I can see clearly now. The rains have gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. So just by being persistent and meeting what arises, we can find the grace, the gift, the good, the God, and everything. So that's at the end of this book, the edge of our vastness. There is an important difference between peace as a moment of stillness, or peace as a state of beingness. Can you feel that peace, the peace that passes all understanding with you right now? If things don't have to be okay out there, I live in that peace. That's what he's saying. As joy holds all feelings, peace holds all psychologies. Like a human fish, we fin our way through the eddies and the pools of life, through the turbulent tides, looking for expansive stretches of calmness. No one knows exactly how to do this, but we each must try. And maybe there'll be a turtle on your pathway, and you stop because I'm one with the turtle. So here's at the end of the book, I love this little paragraph. As I mentioned earlier, the older I get, the more I feel in any given moment. This means experiencing more than one feeling at a time. And even when one feeling is pronounced, others are also right nearby. And this is the unifying experience of depth. We're asked to lean into the merging, not to resist it. So sometimes we'll feel sad, sometimes we'll feel joyful, sometimes we'll feel confused. But could we embrace this confusion? Astounding, lucid confusion. I can feel happy and sad at once. I can feel clear and confused at the same time. I can feel pain and beauty in the same moment, because the current of experience, which never stops, wears the opening of the heart wider and deeper, so that it can receive more of life at once. While this is challenging, it's a good thing. It brings us closer to the flow of aliveness. With your kids and their father, you experience the depth of the love and also the contraction. All of that is welcome, and it's skipping to the very, very end of the book. Very end. Each trial then in life becomes a blessing. Ooh, and as I grow older, my wonder widens and softens. This too is good, this too is for God, and I demand to see the blessing. You know, it's like one of Ed's treatments. You know that this too is good, you meet that pain, this too is for God, and I demand to see the blessing. And when you do make that demand, we're all of the same awakening tribe, he goes on to say. There is nowhere else to go but right here. And he says, I keep discovering how to let my heart do its job and to let it protect us. No other way around. To let my heart do its job. There's no other way. Let it protect us. The end of the book. And now, if pressed to speak of God from this place of wonder, I'd have to say God is the one true world. The all-embracing ocean that is home to every fish. The soul is the common center of this universal spirit that seeds each life. We're a spiritual being, we have a soul, which is why when in the depths of your soul, we feel kinship with all living things. Kinship with all life. Boy, and no matter how we want to spare ourselves the roughness of the journey, it's going to be a rough little ride, little Missy. We can't bypass this human journey. It's the cocoon that releases our spirit. And when we can accept the inescapable gift of being here, it becomes clear that the real value of listening is that it leads us outside of ourselves and eventually back to who we really are, only more enlivened, complete, and wide awake. We let go of the me that gets so trapped in our narrative, and we discover there's a we where we're all in this together, unfolding, evolving, merging in the one life, the one love. Boy, that's so, and lastly, he says, so I wish for you and me the continued chance to learn from your heart. This isn't going to end, Thomas. It's going to go on forever. Lifetime after lifetime. So we could be awake enough to do small things with great love and the strength of the heart to turn the sorrow that endures forever into the peace that abides in every single moment. There's going to be a sorrow that endures forever, what we've done on this planet that's really quite unthinkable. But yet there's a peace in knowing that we are evolving. And so my vow remains the same as those before me, to stay a committed, animated, obedient learner who is always asking one question of what use and bridge can I be in this moment? He's a nice Jewish boy, and you know what happened to the Jews? For a long time they were persecuted. And so he's made a lot of peace. He says, I don't have to heal all of it, but I have to accept what is. It's as an endless practice. Lastly, I wanted to close with a young man who died very young. His name is Matty Stepanek, and he wrote this wonderful book, Journey Through Heart Songs. And he had an incurable disease he was born with, and so did his siblings. They all died early, but he went on to make an expression. And just this, Matty was here from 1990 to 2004, so he lived to be 13 years old. And so he said, I am Matty Stepanek. My body has light skin. I have red blood, blue eyes, and blonde hair. Since I have mitochondrial myopathy, I even have a tracheotomy, a ventilator, and oxygen tank. Very poetic I am, and very smart too. I am always brainstorming ideas and stories. I am a survivor, but someday I will see my two brothers and my one sister in heaven. So when I grew up, I plan to become a father, a writer, a public speaker, and most of all, a peacemaker. Whoever I am and whatever happens, I will always love my body and my mind, even if it has different abilities than other people's bodies and minds. And I will always be happy because I will always be me. This is Matty Stepanek at age 10. So here's Matty's heart song. He wrote this when he was 6 years old. And I'm going to close with his heart song. This is a 6-year-old, and this is what he wants to bring to the world, Thomas. He says, I have a heart song, and it's deep within my heart. And only I can hear this song. If I close my eyes and I sit very still, it is so easy to listen to my heart song. Kind of reminds me of your pyramids. When my eyes are open and I am so busy and moving and busy, if I take time and listen very hard, I can still hear my inner heart song. It makes me feel happy, happier than ever, happier than everywhere, and everything and everyone in the whole wide world, happy like thinking about going to heaven when I die. My heart song sounds like this. I love you. I love you. How happy you can be. How happy you can make the whole world be. And sometimes it's other tunes and other words too, but it always sings the same special feeling to me. It makes me think of Jamie and Katie and Stevie, his 3 siblings that are going to have it, and other wonderful things. This is my special heart song. But do you know what? All people have a special song in their hearts, inside their hearts. Everyone in the whole wide world has a special heart song. And if you believe in magical, musical hearts, and if you believe that you can be happy, then you too will hear your own heart song. Then you too will hear your own heart song. I think we have a heart song that we're going to sing for you to share with us about love, and then and right after the song, well, Jody's going to come down, and if anybody has a donation they'd like to give, we have our Breaking Bread Sunday with lots of good food. I know, this is your heart song, Thomas.
If you feel like singing, go ahead and sing. I am filled with loving kindness. I am well. I am peaceful and at ease. And I am happy. Let's do that again. I am filled with loving kindness. I am well. I am peaceful and at ease. peaceful and at peace, and may we be happy. Just last line. And may we be happy.
Oh, thank you, beloved Judy. Ah, there's that magical mindfulness bell inviting us to go home. We like to end where we began, in that sacred place called home. Observing the awakened heart, that loving kindness that is always there waiting for our attention. And we've just invoked the universe. May we be filled with this loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful. And may we be at ease. And ultimately arrive at that joyful place called happy. And so we've invoked the universe. We've spread it out to others. And may you share the same. May we all share the same desire to be happy, to be filled with loving kindness. And in that intention, we are planting a garden in the soul of the universe. There is but one life. That life is the life of spirit. That life is within me and all creation. And so with that intention to open this loving kindness, like we have shared from these various incredible, then we can, whatever arises, we can love that. And on this endless journey called life, we embrace the journey. There is no final destination, no. We arrive, we are home in the present moment, and we are always in the present moment. And so on this journey, on this mystery, on this unfolding journey, we're always going to be going home. And like little Maddie Stepanek, we're going to discover our heart song, that magical something that lets us know even the ancestors that are in heaven are still here with us. Because heaven is a state of consciousness. It's that kingdom of heaven within us. It is all around us. And we are embracing it as the one life. Take a deep inhalation. Feel that connection. Give another sigh for the divine. How sweet is that? And now we're going to do a little song that we sing at the end. And Bob and Kelly will lead us. And we'll take hands, make a circle.